Okay, so I want to address a question which has been frequently asked following The Acolyte Episode 8. According to new Star Wars canon, since the way to bleed a kyber crystal is to pour your raw emotions into it, your dark side emotions, your anger, your hate, your rage, your pain, if Osha did it, why didn't Anakin's lightsaber go from blue to red after he killed the Tuskens in Attack of the Clones, or after he massacred the younglings in Revenge of the Sith? At face value, it seems a bit inconsistent and doesn't make sense. Of course, there is an out-of-universe reason. The lore was different when the prequels came out. But considering the new explanation, first introduced in Star Wars comics but we also see it in Jedi Survivor, regardless of how we might feel about this explanation, the truth of the matter is that Osha was able to turn Sol's saber red because the kyber crystal within it was exposed. This is also consistent with Dagan Gera in Jedi Survivor. There have been criticisms that Osha's lightsaber changed too easily without meditation, without the sheer level of pain, effort, and concentration Kylo Ren and Vader went through, and that it was almost like a mood ring. The only defense for this is that Osha was holding back 16 years of rage, and like I say, the key difference being the kyber crystal was exposed. Do I like this explanation? Honestly, not very much. And as I say, out of universe, this was not the explanation during the original trilogy nor the prequel trilogy, and 1977's A New Hope relied on Anakin's lightsaber staying blue, Obi-Wan giving Luke his father's lightsaber. Beginning with Charles Soule's Darth Vader comics in 2017, the origins of bleeding kyber crystals to make them red were revealed with the confirmation red crystals are not found naturally in the galaxy. Instead, a red kyber crystal must be forged using an incredibly dark tradition, and there is a difference between the way Sith bled kyber crystals compared to fallen Jedi. The Sith had to bleed the crystal of a Jedi they killed, whereas fallen Jedi bled their own crystals. This is made evident in the first arc of the Darth Vader comic run. Kyber is considered to be alive due to its intrinsic connection to the Force, and a Sith needs to pour all of their hate and pain into it. This, as the name suggests, causes it to literally bleed, creating a sinister crimson color as the kyber has been effectively tortured into becoming a weapon of the dark side. And by comparison, as seen in Charles Soule The Rise of Kylo Ren, a corrupted Ben Solo holds his blue kyber crystal in his fist, tainting it until it bleeds and turns red. But the process results in cracks in the kyber, hence the need for Kylo to add a crossguard to vent his new lightsaber's unstable power. And yes, that is the canon explanation of why Kylo Ren has a crossguard. In Charles Soule's Star Wars issue number 35, Luke Skywalker learns about bleeding crystals while searching for a new one on Christophsis, and he says this: a dark side practitioner pours their rage and pain and fear through the crystal, leaving it vibrating in scarlet agony, almost like a feedback loop. And so because the kyber crystal is alive, they confirm, just like the user, the bled crystal feels constant pain due to the wielder's corruption in the Force. The Darth Vader comic run further confirms the way Sith acquire their crystals is a sinister rite of passage. Shortly after Anakin became Vader in Revenge of the Sith, Palpatine tasked his apprentice with killing a surviving Jedi. So keeping in line with this canon, Osha, as a new Sith acolyte, bled the crystal of her former master. In the case of Vader, he bled the crystal of Master Karak Infilla, a Jedi who, just like Turbin, took the Barash vow. But here's my issue. It was a much more arduous, ritualistic process for Vader to bleed the crystal compared to Osha. In the case of Palpatine's new apprentice, this is what went down. After Vader dealt with the Jedi, Palpatine contacts him. You must return to Mustafar, Lord Vader. Mustafar is not like other planets. It is unique. Deep beneath its surface rests a locus for the dark side of the Force. Here you will reclaim yourself. From the site of your greatest defeat to Jedi Master Obi-Wan Kenobi, you shall rise strong, unbroken, powerful, my young apprentice. For you have acquired the weapon of a Jedi, and the crystal within, but they are not yet yours. The crystal is a potent thing, alive in some strange way, pulsing with light side energy. You, Lord Vader, will need great strength to bend it to your will. This is not a task for the meek. Find the place where the dark side calls to you. Draw upon the dark energy there, combine it with your rage and power it with your own. Then, rise and use it. For you must corrupt the kyber crystal, teach it your pain, force your anger upon it. Hear it sing the hymns of darkness. Lord Vader, make it bleed. So I did dramatize it quite a bit, but as you can tell from Palpatine's words, this was not an easy task. It wasn't just picking up a lightsaber and it changes color because you're feeling a bit angry. It was a whole process Vader struggled with. So he goes to the Nexus, he goes to the cave, opens up the lightsaber, pulls out the green crystal, gazes upon it, starts focusing and meditating. The crystal starts making a humming sound, which becomes a loud screech. Vader is thrown back. What have I done? It mesmerized him. He thought he broke the crystal. But no, Vader thought he was done, but he wasn't. He has a vision where he returns to Palpatine on Coruscant, having failed the task. Palpatine says to him, "My apprentice, you have returned. Were you successful in your quest?" "I was." But when Vader ignites his saber, it's green. And so, Palpatine says he failed. He attacks Vader, but Vader bests him. Then, Vader has another vision, this time of Obi-Wan. And that is what causes Vader to go into a fit of rage. It's kind of tragic because in that moment he realizes he lost everything. And he shouts, "I refuse. This is all there is." He had no other choice. Remain Palpatine's apprentice, overseer of an empire, or death. And the comic does an excellent job of showing us Vader's true pain. He thinks of the fight on Mustafar with Obi-Wan. He remembers Padme, the death of his mother, everything he's lost. And that is what causes him to succeed, finally bleeding it and turning the crystal red. Now here's another important bit. Vader returns disheveled after having had a very stressful mission, but he's ready. Vader presents the red blade to his master. He succeeded in one of the most arduous Sith rituals. So as you can see, there's a bit of a disconnect between the difficulty of being able to successfully do this as a Sith as powerful as Vader, and the way Osha did it with such ease. And I know there are some that will say, well, Osha was in just as much pain. We don't know just how much she's been through. What she was feeling in the moment was sheer agony, that kind of thing. And I guess that's the reason it was conveyed. I mean, she was literally shaking, but the way it's portrayed in the comics is far more epic. And I wish they'd made it this massive, symbolic moment. But what do you guys think? Did you like the moment? How do you feel about the new canon explanation? And the way it was handled in the final episode of the show? If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to give me a big fat thumbs up, subscribe if you're new, and may the Force be with you, always.